Welcome back to R6 NAL. Doa Jesse Jacob here with you at the desk. We are about to go into TSM versus Beastcoast, and this one could get really interesting, right? Because TSM still trying to find their footing, right? Beastcoast looking very exciting, but still rather unrefined, as it were. But the question is, Jacob, what's trending?
Well, in this game, a couple of things. And for both teams on the upswing, there's actually a commonality because we're talking roam versus roam clearing. If we're looking for good things that TSM has done, there's not really a lot of them. But if there was something, it's the way they decide to worry about said roam clear. The only downside to that is that Beastcoast are usually really good on the roams themselves. It's the combo of Sweater and Surf working in tandem. So this is a good challenge for TSM. The one good thing they've done so far this stage, going up against probably the best thing that Beastcoast have been doing in tandem. I think that'll be interesting to look at. But then on the flip side of that, obviously both teams are coming in here with a couple of struggles. So on the downside, we got to talk about Bolo and the fact that he's not been in gunfight or winnable situations very often. And even when he is, he's still not winning those fights, or he's not really getting put in the best position. And on the downside for Beastcoast, the roams they go for themselves, in spite of Sweater and Surf being really good, are usually super risky. So that's kind of the tail of the tape for this game.
I mean, that's the problem, right? Like, sure, the roams have been very good for Beastcoast, but they often are very far removed from the site. So, like, you can kind of hunt those roamers down. And that's something that TSM's done, like, a pretty decent job at so far. Their struggles are very much on the defensive side. So I think a lot of their clears, a lot of particularly, like, hunting of roamers has gone pretty well for them in their last few games. Usually it's not enough for a win, but against Beastcoast, it might be.
It could be, yeah. And I mean, the thing for Beastcoast, too, is it's strange going into this match where we look at it, we say Beastcoast beating TSM isn't necessarily even an upset anymore. It's
not really, no.
At its lowest, I feel like it's a very even match, right? And that's, I think, giving more to TSM than a lot of people would be willing to at this point. But, you know, we will see, right? Because Beastcoast is in that situation where they still can really make a run for that major spot if they keep playing well, and if they win definitively over TSM, that might be a big part of getting them there.
Yeah, we hadn't talked about it too much because we're still kind of waiting and hoping for TSM to wake up, so to speak, but Beastcoast are still in that conversation. It just now depends more on them doing well, Space Station not doing good, Dark Zero not doing good, and XZ not doing good, which is a little bit too much for you to rely on yourself, so they need a really big win here.
Sure enough. Let's talk about TSM a little bit more. So at this point in the stage, as we dive into TSM here, we're getting to the point where it's not necessarily about getting to the major anymore. It's about laying the groundwork for a stronger next portion of the year, isn't it?
Sure, I think that's fair to say for TSM. I think a lot of the stage people have been very critical of their map ban phase. Sure. And that's fair enough. They went to Meme Park once, and it's like, okay, it's auctions, a new map. Fine, we lost it, not a big deal. Then they went back to Meme Park for a second time, and unfortunately that time also ended up falling to Mirage. Bit of a rough game. People said, okay, maybe they should stop playing this map. Then they played it a third time in TSM, going back to the same map, this time against Dark Zero, and people were saying, okay, please TSM, stop banning this map. But I think the biggest problem for TSM so far is that after they finished with Meme Park, they stopped playing it, they went to a brand new map, they went to Villa, and they got 1 round against Astralis. Even Mirage got 2 rounds against Astralis. Not that Astralis is bad, and that was kind of a meme game, but like,
no, but find the positive point for TSM in the midst of all that.
This is the problem, right? Like, they went to a different map other than Theme Park finally, and it was their worst game of the stage.
Yeah.
So the problems are very apparent. I definitely don't mind if TSM are kind of transitioning to look at the stage more as like a stage for improvement rather than one where they're hunting for the major. It is still technically possible, but it's gonna be very tough at this point, and there are definitely kinks that need to be worked out on this roster.
The thing I don't want for TSM is coming off of SI. I mean, we'll keep on beating the world champions line to death because that's what they are. But if they were to miss this major, statistically in the history of Rainbow Six competitive play, this would be the worst fall off that a world champion has ever seen immediately after winning said world championship. If they were to miss this major, it would be even worse than G2 failing to qualify for the Milan Pro League finals after winning the Six Invitational in 2019. This is not something they want on their ledger. It would be covered, it would be drenched in red. That's a really bad sign for a squad that just lifted a hammer only 2 months prior. Not to say that playing the long game is a bad thing. If they decide they have kinks in stage 1 they have to iron out and then go into the rest of the stage, or into the rest of the year, maybe make another international event or 2 and then try again next February, sure, maybe that's on the cards, but in the short term, do you still try to save some face and see if you can't make it here? You have to get like all 9 points these last 3 games to do it, though.
It feels like this stage is going to be a bit of a wash but you need to perform in stage 2 and 3. That's where it gets really concerning. I think,
if this happens again in stage 2, then we're worried.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. It still seems. Well, let me ask this to you, Jesse. Do the problems seem fixable?
I think so. I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, we're talking a lot of like bad stuff about TSM, but I don't think like even this game is out of the question for them.
No,
right?
not at
I think that like, you know, you look at their opponents so far this stage, and they have been some of the tougher teams. They go against Beastcoast today, and it feels like Beastcoast has been a little reliant on like some of these kind of creative plays, some of these like shenanigans that other teams aren't expecting. For TSM, they've got one of the strongest support staffs in the entire world. Pojo, Data, Gotcha. These are players and coaches that really know the game well. And if anybody's going to fix the problems with TSM, if anybody's going to get these defensive roams back on track, if anybody's going to be able to get these pushes working, it's going to be these guys, right? And so I think TSM definitely have a solid chance here, despite the fact they've been in a bit of a slump. If they're able to analyze Beastcoast over these last couple of days, if they're able to kind of work out what map they're going to and really crunch the numbers and figure out kind of what Beastcoast's weak points are, I think they've got a solid shot here.
Yeah.
It's just that so far that hasn't been happening.
It is possible against a team like Beastcoast. Let's start talking about them a little bit here as we see our final shots of TSM as they get warmed up for the match here. But Beastcoast coming in, they have had a certain chaotic but effective style. It's a style that could use some refinement. If that refinement comes through, where is this team at?
I mean,
Pretty solid, I think.
You think?
I mean,
say your piece.
If it gets refined, sure. Right now, I think it's almost too risky or too reckless for their own good in some cases. They look like they're way more put together than they had any expectations prior to this stage. So now we're looking at like some cohesion, some coordination, which is nice to see. Not something we thought when the stage began. We thought it would be a ragtag group of rejects that were coming into the league looking for something like to work from, but they weren't able to find it.
Here's the problem, though. For Beastcoast, it feels like a lot of their wins have come off of maps that people haven't seen their stuff on. Obviously, they're a brand new team, so everything is going to be unknown. But they've kind of shown their hand at this point. We're most of the way through the stage, and their map pool is very clearly Bank, Oregon, Border, Villa, Sky. Every game, they'll ban Club, Chalet, Cafe, or Theme unless their opponents do it first. So for Beastcoast, they've kind of shown what they can do. And on most of those maps, other than Skyscraper, they've already showcased what their roams are like, what their pushes are like. And I'm very worried for them that, like, all of a sudden, with that element of surprise gone, TSM are going to read into that, and Beastcoast are going to start losing games again.
Well, so for the purpose of the NAL at least, having 4 maps that are pretty good for you seems like a good spot to be in, actually, right? Because we've got 9 maps in the pool. You're going to be banning out similar ones everywhere.
Yep.
Sure, it might open you up for some vulnerability at the international level, but it seems like on the NAL side, that's not a bad strategy, is it?
I guess I'm just not confident that they're actually really solid maps for Beastcoast, and they're not just kind of winning them off of like some gimmicky plays. Because like
wow, that's a big statement.
I mean, he's not wrong.
This is not every map, but like Beastcoast have yet to go back to a map that they've won and then win it again. They've lost the map and then turn it into a win, but they've yet to win a same map twice.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's check out some stats for some Super S players on that. That's right, /surf sweater. That'll begin with S. It's alliteration. They've all got great stats as well.
Yeah, I think this is the roaming trio of Beastcoast that has been putting in so much work for this team. First of all, it's Sweater. He's the guy who's going to catch your eye. He's a cracked gunner coming from Challenger League a couple of years ago that has really been a powerful force for Beastcoast, right? Then you take a look at Surf, and he's never too far away. He works so well with Sweater. Even if he doesn't have the best stats in all these games, he's still performing really heavily for the squad and doing a lot to support Sweater. And Slash is the fallback, calling some info or holding their flanks to return back to site. He's the guy that can bring him in, and I think this team, with the way these 3 players have been able to roam on that defensive side, have thrown in so many problems for attacking opponents that this is their one chance to really go forward and explode in this league.
It's a good setup for those 3 players specifically. The thing I don't want is Sweater getting a little bit too desperate for those opening engagements. He's done that for most of the stage so far. When you play defense, if he's not in the kill feed, either as the killer or the guy that just got shot, then he feels like almost like he's not doing his job appropriately. But you don't want him to get desperate for that opening engagement. Obviously, Beastcoast are doing what they can to read the entry. I'd say they're doing a pretty good job if Sweater is consistently in that first fight, but you don't want him to go like hunting for it every time and then get so desperate he puts himself into a bad spot and then keeps losing gunfights. If Sweater can come out like at the initial part of said engagement, Beastcoast are going to win a lot more rounds. That's
right. Well, it's time to find out where the game will be played. What map shall we be going to? The bans are in. We're about to find out. The one thing I got to say, No theme park. Please, no theme park.
We'll get there at some point, for sure.
I think you should have learned your lesson by now.
Beastcoast have a couple things that they've permabanned so far, but the first thing they'll prioritize is making sure that they don't go to TSM's best map. They want Cafe off the board first, which means because they have 2 other maps that they still want to take off the board, Clubhouse is one of them, then they'll need to make sure that TSM don't really twist this ban phase toward the end and go to a map that they're actually not that comfortable with. However, they're still taking out a couple good ones. Hey, no more theme park. No, we're good. But there's still one more that Beastcoast themselves have permabanned every time, and that is about to come up. It's Chalet. So now they've taken everything off that they don't like, ones that they have opted to just leave out of the pool so far through this stage, but now it's kind of up to TSM to really get this last push here.
I think it's always, this map ban phase, been TSM's choice on where they want to go based on the maps that Beastcoast have shown they're willing to play. I wrote in my notes, I wanted to see TSM bring us to a Villa or an Oregon. It's not going to be Oregon. They have the choice now, Villa or Sky. Sky's that one map that Beastcoast have never banned, but have also never played because everyone bans it against them. I anticipate TSM will follow suit and also ban the Skyscraper. They choose to play it instead. I don't like this call because I feel like TSM's Villa is quite strong. It was their most dominant map through SI. They brought it home, and sure, the Astralis game wasn't amazing. But you've got a lot of rounds to like Vaudeville on Beastcoast here because when they played out on Villa, that was an 8-6 game where they lost to Dark Zero, or 8-7, excuse me.
Right.
So I don't love that TSM are going to a map they've never seen their opponents play rather than something where they've got a ton of VOD to try to review, especially since the map that they've never played. I guess they're just trying to like warm up a little bit. I don't know. I feel like this is the wrong call for them in the final map.
I mean, it also feels like some of the old guard teams going towards the new maps doesn't really feel like the wave. It feels like Astralis has tried every new map out. Parabellum are probably going to be more prone to doing it. Beastcoast themselves, they've already played Border. They've won that. They beat Parabellum first game on the stage. So this feels inherently like it just favors Beastcoast more because it's a new battleground. And you would just assume TSM, because they've played all of these classic maps before, why would they add something new to their repertoire when you've got 9 maps to pick from, several to ban out? So go to something more reliable. Instead, this feels like more of a risk than I think is worth it.
You kind of wonder, though, too, if this is maybe TSM getting, again, the groundwork laid for next stage, too. Maybe it's less about Beastcoast and more about TSM, but
the chance still exists for TSM to qualify, though, which is why I'm not willing, as someone who isn't like a TSM fan in my core, obviously, I'm not willing to just say that this is being completely left to the wolves. They're just like, the stage is over, we're just trying some things out and then moving on to next stage. TSM don't really seem like the team to do that. A team like Mirage, pre-Razor leaving, might have been trying to prep things up for next stage, but I just don't see TSM as the one that's going to play the long game. If there's a shot to get to the major, they're still going to do their best to get there.
All right, well, we'll see how strongly you feel about that opinion as we get to predictions here. It's time. First, though, we'll send it over to our casters, Pengu and Intero, sitting by, I was going to say standing by, but you're kind of sitting over there.
We're sitting.
Have you made your minds up? Is it a tough choice, this one, TSM versus Beastcoast?
Is it a tough choice?
It's always a tough choice when TSM's involved because you never know what to expect. But
4
I would
points,
say
TSM.
4 points TSM.
4 points TSM. Is it a tough choice with them?
I think Jesse was spewing false stuff on the desk a moment ago.
Whoa!
He said, sorry,
Okay.
I'll like show my quote, something on the lines of, sorry, it's his birthday, I'm so sorry, Jesse. Happy birthday! He said he doesn't understand why TSM didn't go to Villa when TSM's Villa is great, and then he just kind of said, oh yeah, and, you know, the Charlotte game wasn't that good. No, it was a 1-7 loss. Like, they sucked on Villa. I think TSM is all about the long game. You know, like you invest into a team. They suck right now. They're probably not going to improve that much. But in stage 2, stage 3, that's where we're going to see them return. It's Beastcoast all the way.
Yeah, I'm going
this way.
to go with Beastcoast today as well. They want to keep their major shots alive. They got Mirage next week. Mirage does not look like a team that's going to give them too much trouble. They pick up 3 big points here. They pick up 3 points against Mirage next week. They're still very much in that Charlotte race. Bay. I'm going with Beastcoast.
There it is.
All right, 2 for Beastcoast.
Sorry, Jesse.
Analysts.
I mean,
What do you got?
listen, my problem is that Skyscraper is also a map that they just haven't seen Beastcoast on, and Beastcoast is bringing out so much surprising plays on these maps that they've never been to before. I still don't like the map ban phase finishing out from TSM. I'm stuck because I said in the pre-show I thought TSM were going to win all of their remaining games. And now they come out and I disagree with the way that they've gone through these map bans still. So I'll flip-flop. I'll go Beast Coast for this one.
Wow.
Sorry, I can't TSM.
You know,
I don't like it. I don't
whenever
like
you
the Sky.
rethink your multiple choice answer, it always ends up being the wrong one. You know how it goes, right?
That's how I roll.
Just saying, I'm not trying to influence you.
That was a good
not
pre-show
changing.
hot take too. I thought that actually like had legs, and then this ban phase went the way that it did. I'm not flip-flopping because I didn't pick TSM in the interim anyway.
Okay.
But I'll still go with Beast Coast, mostly due to the map that we're going to. It's not like a playstyle thing. I don't have less confidence in the way that TSM decide to play. I'm less confident in Bolo, but not in the team as a whole. The strategy, the system still exists for this squad. It's just a matter of when they're finally going to show up, and I don't know if a map that hasn't been in the pool so far is the place to do it, so I'll take BC.
Fair enough. All right, everybody going Beast Coast. See what the coin has to say. As per usual,
which, by the way,
the graphic, TSM.
I'm now tied with that thing.
Heads? Yeah? Oh, you are. You're getting there. All right.
Please pick TSM and please let us be right.
And then we got Tails will be Beast Coast. Let's see what it is. Oh, it's heads.
Boo.
All right.
Coin says TSM.
Today?
The coin, you know, I did flip it at home. Maybe the coin's a bit nervous coming back into the studio again. You know, the lights are kind of getting in the way or something like that. It's a risky pick. Didn't pan out. The upset didn't pan out in map number 1, not at all.
No.
But the coin going to TSM. We'll see what happens.
We got to find like the stat line of like of those games for when you were gone from last week and see if the coin has a higher success rate when you are here versus when you're not here.
It could be. I'm flipping it either way. I'm still
true.
the person doing the flipping.
But is it the studio lights? Is that the problem?
It could be. It could be.
We will find this weak link.
We'll find out. There's a lot to discuss, including our community poll. Let's see what it is this time around. The community poll is going to be who will not win today? Team Solo Mid or Least Coast? That's actually what's written here on my card. You might see it on a second there. I heard they just prefer TSM now because nobody remembers what Solo Mid means. Like, of course, those of us and other who have come from other teams, like we know, but some people know.
Like they only defend the middle floor on Oregon? I don't understand.
I don't know. Solo Mid with just one person, too. Well, that's too big for us to kind of break down. So let's send it over to our casters. They can discuss it as well and also call the action on our next map. Take it away.
Well, thank you very much to the desk. We're back here live in action for our second matchup of Playday number 7 and Beast Coast versus TSM. Now, if you stepped back and you didn't watch any of the matches up to this point, you would think, okay, defending SI champions in TSM. They're just going to cruise on through because your memories of Beast Coast would likely be based on last year when they were one of the worst 2 teams statistically in the NAL. But guess what?
It's changed.
It's absolutely changed.
Yeah, it has. TSM are, as you mentioned, they're not looking like a world #1 team right now. What is this? What is 4 points? 4 points. Yeah. The thing is, they can still get more. They can become a 7-point ND team, Parker. How long can you go for? There it is. That's the end, right? I heard it go. That is the soul of TSM fans.
That was my soul. Leaving.
Yeah,
correct.
It was.
To 10 points for Beast Coast.
Yeah. And not just that, but you also got TSM, which I will say I respect them for, going to new maps, going to the, they've been on Theme Park a couple of times, maybe one too many. Yep. And Skyscraper, also a new map.
Yes.
Kind of. Got reworked, back into the map pool.
I think it feels and it plays like a new map. Obviously, that entire first floor is now played very differently than we saw before. Obviously, stylistic changes to Hookah and the back portion of Karaoke have also made the upstairs very different. We've seen it a couple times here in the NAL.
Yep.
But not all that often.
I was gonna say it's been played the least in North America of I believe any region right now. Europe has played it like 4 times. I think APAC has played it 4 or 5 times just in APAC South alone. Brazil is like 3 times or 2 times.
You need to crunch the numbers.
We'll crunch the numbers.
We'll crunch the numbers eventually. We're going to waste no time, though. This is my first time casting Skyscraper here on the North American League because of my absences. We'll get into the matchup. Starting on defense first is Beast Coast. On the top of your screen, you see the overall win rates of these teams. And yeah, TSM 1-5. Only 4 points to their name. It has been a very rough outing for them. They beat XSET, which is a bit of a surprise because XSET has been consistently one of the better teams so far in the North American League. But other than that, TSM have not fared very well. Their odds of going to the Charlotte Major are pretty much kaput at this point. So the defending champs of SI will be unlikely to make it to the Major, but their opponents, Beast Coast, as Jacob referred to, a team of rejects, which, by the way, I don't necessarily think is the case. I think they put this team together with tons of potential, especially with Sweater on that squad, and they have proven their worth. They've still had some growing pains. They sit in 6th right now, 3-3, and they still have an outside shot of making it to the Raleigh Major. They trail Space Station outside of that window, the Charlotte Major, and then you've got Dirk Zero, XSET, and Oxygen. Same state, whatever.
I was gonna say,
as a Canadian,
we're going back in time.
As a Canadian, North Carolina is one big city. That's it to me. That's it to me.
As a Danish
The
person,
city of Canada.
Canada is basically just America. That's how I see it from Denmark. So.
Hold on one.
Hold on there.
Beastcoast still have a shot. In terms of strength of schedule moving forward, this matchup for Beastcoast on paper is a must-win for them. You're going up against a team that is in 8th place, that have not been the strongest. Then you go up against Mirage, who are in dead last. Razor announcing earlier today that due to personal circumstances, he'll be stepping away for the rest of the stage.
Yep.
Mirage did not look particularly good against Astralis earlier today. Understandable given the circumstances. If Beastcoast can prevail here and pick up all 3 points, and then pick up 3 points against Mirage, that'll put them at 16 points. Now, that's good enough to vault them at this present moment into 2nd place, but there's still 2 more playdays to go. All the rest of the teams have to play. That's the stakes for Beastcoast, and they're going to gamble on a map that we have never seen them play before.
Yeah, so while TSM themselves can't necessarily make the major per se, they can still kind of choose what other teams do go. That could be Beastcoast, that could be someone else. TSM winning here would put Beastcoast, on the back foot of qualifying, but if Beastcoast finds the victory, they put themselves in a great position going forward. Some few things to note here. Operator bans went out. TSM banned the Thatcher and the Valkyrie. Beastcoast banned the Flores and the Mira. So one of the key operators that is left open and in play is the Maverick, which has been brought up on Chala. Normally, when we see Maverick being banned on Skyscraper, it forces you to roam clear very extensively on the map, both vertically and horizontally. But with Maverick being open, you can actually just go directly onto the bomb site itself. And right now, that's why the Maverick can open that geisha wall while holding the jump outs around the windows. Because Skyscraper does have all these balconies or terraces, whichever you want to call them, and you can threaten jump outs constantly on this map. Vertical C4s from down below on 1st floor going up into Geisha, for example, also very prevalent, which is why we see 2 C4s being brought out from BC, 1 on Sweater and 1 on Surface on the mute. Although he's not downstairs just yet, but Sweater, he is.
He's roaming right now down by the bar, just outside of that pantry doorway, staring all the way over towards restaurant and now back towards barbecue. He's holding up on these 2 separate positions. Oh, there goes the Gemini skating right by. Sweater has not been spotted as far as we're aware. 90 seconds burned off of this clock. There's another drone behind him, and now the Mozzie will be seen. It's Surf to come to the rescue to allow him to get out of there safely.
Yeah, but look, TSM with this direct attack, one of the downsides is that time is ticking down. You haven't gained almost any map control. And sure, you now have got some of 1st floor here inside of Kegs and Barbecue itself, but other than that, you don't have a lot to work with. Vertical nades, we know TSM are so good at using them. One of the main factors of their success at Invitationals was their ability to find 1 or 2 kills almost every single round using those grenades from below. But we see Beastcoast right now not really playing on soft destructible floor, they're playing in safe positions.
In a meta that should really favor these attackers with attacker repick, Nick, it is a bit astonishing how poor TSM has been, even though attacking has been their stronger side. Still searching for the very first kill. 40 seconds left. You talked about those nades from below. It does not connect. Merc gets the very first pick onto Sweater as there's all of those Molotovs on the back stairs. An equalizer from Surf takes out Bolo. And now the entry point will come over towards those back stairs and the doorway around it. 2 kills for Beastcoast, effortlessly thwarting any push from TSM. Now Chala's down for the count. Gio with his new dye job down below inside a restaurant. 10 seconds to go in a 1v4. Beastcoast just need to sit pretty. Don't give up anything. You've still got 2 of those Shumikas, but Gio gets a kill as Anthony jumps out into a Claymore, but he'll just waste some time as Beastcoast don't bother to engage and let Gio twist in the wind. First round goes to Beastcoast here on Skyscraper.
Also, one of the things about Skyscraper that I was a little bit worried from the side of Beastcoast is they have arguably a little bit of lack of discipline. And we saw it a little bit there in that 1 vs 4. Jumped out a window, got Claymored, ran outside, tried to get the kill, etc. I'm sure the round is basically a 1 already. But the one way Beastcoast can lose these defensive rounds if they're moving too much, not having enough discipline to set up crossfires against TSM. TSM then gets opening kills like Merc got in that previous round. That's one of the easiest ways for TSM to kind of find 2 or 3 attacking rounds on this half. But Beastcoast also so good at being aggressive together and at the right time. And we will say statistically across every single region, this is a defender-sided map in that 55 to 60-ish% defender win rate, success rate. The only thing that's kind of weak on this map are those downstairs bomb sites. We see Karaoke and Office, the previous bombs and the Curse bomb site. They are the #1 and #2 most played. Also #1 and #2 most successful defending bomb sites. So our eyes are really going to be looking at that tertiary bomb site, whether they're going to go master bedroom or whether Beastcoast will go into a barbecue restaurant and see if they can actually make the tertiary bomb site work for them. Otherwise, that's kind of where we expected him to get a free round, if you will.
So even though it's been years since we saw Skyscraper at the top level, we go back to what was, for a period of time, the 2 most played bomb sites.
Yeah.
And then, if people remember, at the tail end of Skyscraper's lifespan, before it got reworked, the attackers or the defenders shifted down to that, what was it, the barbecue and kitchen defense, ended up becoming the secondary bomb site, which is now what is labeled this as our tertiary. So,
yeah.
Very well pointed out. And for those of you that have not watched Skyscraper, it's been years since it was in competitive play. So
it's been so long, actually.
It's been eternity. I feel like it went out at, it was either the Raleigh Major or the Paris Major, one of the two. In 2018 for Paris or 2019 for Raleigh was the last time we saw it. It's been quite a long time.
Remember Slash, I believe, is a man who has experience on Skyscraper. I believe he played the good old Monty Hipfire Revolver shenanigans back in the day. But yeah, very long time ago. Skyscraper was different.
You're dating yourself with that one, Nick.
Oh, I know.
You really, really are. That's a grenade that gets tossed in. It looks like from below, doesn't hit anything. And
it hit the mute jammer, Parker. There was a mute jammer there.
My apologies.
Or there's supposed to be, at least.
Ooh. This Flores ban, by the way, is going to be a significant hindrance for the attackers, and I do wonder if it's tripping up TSM at all. Flores is an operator that they have brought into their arsenal on a number of occasions. They're going to need to find that soft destruction elsewhere. They find it in the sledge, but achieved is 0 for 2 as he's the first casualty here in round number 2. Nice pickup by Beastcoast to start off the round. Half of the time to go. And TSM right now outside on that balcony, waiting to push in through this double panel. They have a long line of sight towards Bar, towards Samurai, but there's nobody that is contesting them. Again, second round in a row that Beastcoast are being so patient.
Yep, it's 2 rounds in a row again where TSM goes with this directional, like very direct attack with a little bit of verticality, but the nades aren't finding the kills, the guns aren't landing their shots either, and it's Slash who finds 2 kills in the middle of the bomb site.
They're taken down, a bit of martyrdom at play. Bolo's felled as well, and it's Chala in a 1v5. Yes, that's correct. Slash is downed, technically a 1v4. But he hasn't bled out just yet. There's still plenty of time. 40 seconds for TSM to get this. He'll collect the impactless kill onto Slash, at least for now. Looking longingly as he wanders into the bomb site, but he's hit by the distortive blast of a yokai, and then Trip finishes him off. It's 2-0 Beastcoast.
Good beginning for TSM on that round. I mean, they got the jammers, they got the nade utility, they destroyed the castle barricades, they got first floor control, and then it really went southway. It was individual 1 versus 1 peaks from the breach in towards bomb site. Slash found 2 easy kills. The verticality, the grenades aren't really landing on the right marks. Sure, Slash got injured in the aftermath of what happened, but he got injured in a 1 versus 5 essentially. That is a little bit late, and it's not really going to have a massive effect. Now we see their tertiary bomb site choice here. They are going for this master bedroom, bathroom bomb site. Typically, we see people go barbecue, kitchen, so this is a bit different. Normally, what we expect here is that you extend up to the floor above, where you just defended off office, and then probably gonna extend a little bit over towards restaurant as well. Because Skyscraper is so beautiful in the sense that you can really play anywhere. This entire wall is opened up, Parker. Look at this. The entire wall on both sides, all 3 walls on the side, are completely destroyed from Tashanga, allowing very long lines of sight, I presume, and a little bit of a different defense here from Beastcoast. I have not really seen this before, I'll be honest.
You know what that reminds me of? That old clubhouse defense that we would see time to time, where they would shoot out the wall from inside of Armory that looks into church. I don't know if you remember that. You'd have Smoke do that, though, of course.
Yeah.
It was something that Retro would do back when he was on this old Beastcoast roster back before they became Cloud9, and it was something that Necrox would do as well when he was on Evil Geniuses. So it's cool to see, and this is something that for those of the more casual side of our viewership don't necessarily understand, that sometimes opening up walls is to your advantage as a defense, because the attackers can't just waltz on in with the same level of confidence, because guess what? You're going to see them when the wall is shot out.
Yeah, I imagine the theory here is that you can't really hold the bomb site itself because of the soft destruction from above. So instead, you choose to hold it from very long lines of sight horizontally, so that when the attackers approach the bomb site, when they try and do the vertical plays, you see Sweater now holding down this deep angle, you can then challenge them. So it's almost like a coastline situation where you're playing very far back, you're giving a lot of space to the attackers, but the issue now comes if you can't win your gunfights. The bomb site is very weak. There There's no walls. There's nothing. All it takes is TSM to get in at the single moment, and then defenders have to play a retake, rushing back towards the bomb site and try and regain all the ground they previously gave up.
Well, the bomb site, don't be fooled, is down below inside of bedroom, as we talked about before, but that same area where the bomb site was in the previous round, upstairs in office, that's the focal point for Beastcoast. They had 2 of the defenders playing over by 1 Dragon and 1 over by Drum. They've now maneuvered into a completely different position. Sweater, who was upstairs, has found his way down into reception, and now he's in this main lobby area, waiting, and he can see the silhouettes. It actually looks like TSM have taken the bomb site. So this is going to be a reversal of sorts. Down goes Bolo. That's the very first kill. Diffuser planted successfully from Chala. So the time will start to tick with 9 players still alive in this server. This is going to be absolute hell. The wall opened up, does no favors whatsoever to Beastcoast as TSM are hitting their marks, but Slash swings on Chala and puts it back to a 3v3. Geo takes out Slash, so it's the aerial support of Sweater from above. He's as good as gone, forcing Drip onto the diffuser, and Achieved very easily uses the hole from above and sends the last member of Beastcoast to the grave. It took the tertiary bomb site for TSM to find a victory, but they get it done on Bedroom.
Yeah, and that's like the one round that we really expect the attackers to win. When I check the statistics for NAL on the kitchen bomb side, it's like a 9% defender win rate. And Master Bedroom isn't even played, so I can only imagine that's even worse. And we saw it right there, a 0% success rate so far in this first round that we've seen it in this matchup. So good job, TSM, getting your first attacking round, but this was the most expected round for you to win. Beastcoast, the strategy was exactly what we kind of expected, what we spoke about briefly. They're opening up all those lines of sight, playing very far back, very far away, using Tashankas, Molotovs to try and deny them from planting. But the issue is, Valkyrie's banned from TSM. You don't have a lot of information on the bomb site itself. You're shooting blind. You lose vertical control. The moment the diffuser is successfully planted, all it takes is one tiny sledgy boy above, which is Achieved if you're on TSM, and he can win that post.
Oh, is that sledgy boy? Feetsies, all these little
tiny sledgy boy. I mean, when you think about Sledge in Rainbow Six Siege, I do believe that Achieved is one of the players that will always come to your mind first. And Sweater, he might take someone off the board in just a second. It's someone sprinting in the spawn. It was actually Bolo himself, who has had a bit of a slow start, but he gets to survive this one and can play it out. It's 5 versus 5.
Achieved's transformation has been really phenomenal. I'm not talking about him shaving off his hair and beard. I'm specifically referring to back in the days when they played on Accelerate Gaming.
Oh boy.
Way back. Achieved was like a 5 or 6 time Challenger League player, always struggled to get to the top, finally cracked in when that Accelerate roster won their relegation spot, and then eventually now they're on this TSM team. But he used to be known as a premier Buck player back when Buck had access to nades, and I remember his debut in Pro League at the time. I think it was Season 9 or Season 10, maybe even Season 11, I can't remember. Ooh. Well, he was something formidable. And they started banning Buck against him, and he started playing Sledge, and well, you're going to need a big round out of Achieved. Bolo is 0-4 as he's the first to fall now in round number 4. It was highlighted on Twitter that Bolo's rating right now is in, the bottom 6 of the NA League. He's actually not that far off of the entire core of Mirage and Super, who Super is dogged endlessly for his poor statistics. Bolo is typically good on attack, miserable on defense. So the fact that he's gone 4 rounds without any real impact in terms of ability or kills, not ideal for TSM.
Not ideal, but we might just see, maybe it swings around where Bolo starts showing up in reverse with defenses where he kind of gets to pop up and have a great time. But it is troublesome. When TSM doesn't find the openings, when Merc isn't popping off, finding those kills for TSM, that's when they struggle the most. But speak of the man shows himself right here in the round, and Merc finds that kill onto Sweater.
And they're beating the drums of war as Sweater falls, and that is the first death for Beastcoast. So with a minute to go, and Drip sustaining some damage just seconds after losing his compatriot, this is going to get really messy between these teams. It is obviously a karaoke and T defense. Right now, TSM have control of Drum, and they want to continue to push in that direction. But Beastcoast are hunkered down inside of Geisha. They've still got control over by Dragon as well. And inside of the bomb site, they sit just waiting. Lots of utility to deny. 3 toxic canisters remaining from Slash's smoke. 10 of those Shumiko launchers still available from Anthony in terms of the Molotovs. So you've got time at your disposal. And if you're TSM, you have to start moving. Again, you are blind with information, and you very patiently wait for somebody to provoke a fight. None of them are doing that. Next one to go down is Geo, but the bloodshed needs to begin for TSM as they filter into the bomb site. Slash looks the wrong way, taken out by Achieved. A 3v3, but almost no time remaining. You'll need good coverage of the bomb getting planted by Merc right now in hands, and it's Anthony to try to recover, but he can't. Oh, TSM shutting them all down. It's Drip to clutch against Merc as the diffuser is down successfully. TSM look for an equalizer. Drip sees him and wins the gunfight. It's a quad kill for Drip. The boy does not die. It's a spirited effort from TSM, but the round still goes in favor of Beastcoast.
Dripper down, baby, and Beastcoast stays afloat. They're actually going to do it. And here we see the C4 from Sweater earlier on, taking down Bolo, really enabling Beastcoast to play the man advantage and abuse the fact that they had more people alive than TSM did. That, of course, was until Merc showed up middle of the round and find the first opening TSM really desperately needed. But there wasn't a ton of follow-up. It was almost a standstill, Parker. You said they don't have time, they don't have information, they have to just go in and get there, and they didn't really do that. There was a lot of hesitation, a lot of waiting around, trying to figure out, okay, what's our approach? Where exactly are we going to entry from? And while they got the entry, while they got a couple of kills, while they got the diffuser planted, they also lost most of their members in the process, leaving it down to just Merc in that 1 versus 1. And I don't think they had any information because Merc wasn't even really shooting back towards Drip. It was almost free pickings for Beastcoast.
It was. Again, TSM's two main issues on this attack seem to be finding that opening pick and then capitalizing off of it. Right now, Beastcoast have 3 of the 4 opening duels breaking in their favor. And yet, I watch what TSM does, and I saw this on Theme Park, and even though they played Theme Park a ton to very limited success, it certainly seemed from the eyeball test that they were getting more comfortable with their attacks. In regards to this Skyscraper gameplay, TSM are trying for those early picks from the windows, right? They think they have Beastcoast spotted somewhere on the map. They pin them down. Grenade goes out. Not working. Beastcoast's roam is very fluid. We have to give them some credit for that. And it's killing a lot of TSM's clock management because TSM's clock management has been very poor. And when you can't pick off one of those roamers early, you're left with very little time to actually execute on the bomb site, and there's plenty of stall potential from Beastcoast.
There is, and I do agree, and I do want to praise Beastcoast because I think one of their weaknesses, looking at them in the early stage of this stage 1, is they are not super disciplined. They move arguably a little bit too much, and they also get picked off very frequently from moving around way too much. It's something that we saw in their earlier game in the very beginning as Parabellum Border. They would move, Parabellum gets a free kill, etc. But now we see Beastcoast playing very disciplined, playing tight together, every single round almost bringing the castle, setting up crossfires, and playing off multiple win conditions. Whether it's the Tashanka, the Smoke, now it's the Echo on Anthony. They got multiple C4s at their disposal each and every single round, using them vertically as well against TSM. They are playing a phenomenal game of Rainbow Six Siege right now, and TSM are not looking like they are up for the challenge.
We're back over on the office bomb site, by the way, and things look to be relatively similar in terms of operator lineup. Beastcoast loving this Echo so far. You pointed out that with Valkyrie being banned, Beastcoast needs some information on defense. Well, a bulletproof camera can do that. You've got 2 of them from both Jaeger and Castle being brought. And then you've got 2 Yokai drones, which are not quite as easy to hide as before, but still are going to give you that information. TSM were very quick to take control of both Terrace and Drum. They've just kind of sat there and waited. Merc slowly taking up more space, but it's at a glacial pace right now. 1 minute to go. Anthony playing behind the bar. Down goes Bolo, 0-5. A drone scoots by, and Anthony could have a second kill for Beastcoast if Merc chooses the wrong gunfight.
Look at this. They basically bunkered up on 2 sides of the map, one in Dragon, one on the Spar desk. Anthony on an aggressive Echo with the 1.5x is holding down this area, and TSM cannot pick it apart whatsoever.
Anthony knows that there's one trapped inside of Terrace, so he can continue to call. Merc goes down, there you go. It wasn't Anthony to get the kill. His voice lending it to Slash to pick it up. Slash getting taken out by a nade, but Drip answers back as, again, TSM not doing the best to manage this clock. Only 2 players remaining. They'll be vulnerable. The Echo decides to go for a brazen play, and Anthony gets punished for that. Chala trying to even the numbers down and gets ever so close, and now it's Drip to fall. TSM at this same breach in the office are playing off each other so well, but Chala has a hope and a prayer, takes out Surf, and it's him versus Sweater. But one of the best entrants to the NAL this season proves his worth. Beastcoast up 4-1, and immediately TSM calls a timeout after that round.
Immediately. There was no hesitation. That one is like, we lose this round. Yep, timeout time. And they need it, right? They got one more round here on their attacking side. Then it's defense. So if you're TSM right now, if you're Pojo, man, there is 3 things you got to talk about. 1, this final attacking round, get it in the back, tertiary bomb site should be yours, great. Then you got to talk about defense, you know, the rounds to come once the side swap enters. And then you really got to talk about the mental, right? When you're down 1-4 in rounds right now, as you are, you need to not throw yourself out of the game. And I really hate the fact that Bolo is so close to the camera because I can almost see or feel his pain. He does not look like a man who believes, from what we can see at least, that he thinks they can come back on this.
Teams are always going to be reluctant to dive into issues that they have, but there is very clearly something wrong here with this TSM roster, whether it be just wanting to go to the same maps over and over and over again and being out-coached, whether it be something like as simple as mental. You get into a funk and then it just stays in your head, and guess what? You become your own worst enemy. I don't know. But as much as he gets an insane amount of praise when he does so well, he also gets an incredible amount of condemnation from the fans when he does not perform up to snuff. Yeah. And if we are being frank, Bolo has had, statistically, his worst season yet, and is one of the worst statistically in this league. That is an unfortunate boat anchor for TSM, as we constantly refer to Bolo, Merc, and Achieved as the 3 tips of the spear. Well, one of those tips is awfully dull right now, and you got to sharpen it at some point. I don't think the timeout is going to fix that, but Beastcoast have already taken the first half. If you're TSM, you ride out this 6th round, try your best, and then ideally your sights are set on when you move to defense.
Yeah, and I mean, now we see one of the staples of TSM, the staples of Merc, the Nook coming out. Something you can kind of play more solo, play more isolated, and try and find openings for your team. You can also play together, of course. You do have those frag grenades you can use at your disposal. And I always think, from my side, the very most difficult kill to get in the entire game is the first kill. Once you get the first kill, you can kind of go, oh my god, I'm not going to drop a donut. We're in the server. We're activated. Like, all that pressure honestly goes out the window. So I do believe that there's a very big chance right now for Bolo to get activated, get a kill in this round, start the defensive side saying, okay, now we're going, now we're activated, now we're feeling good. It's a defender-sided map. Going 2-4 on the attacking side for TSM isn't statistically terrible by any means. It's very average. And that's all you really need if you're TSM right now. An average game where you go close, you go toe-to-toe, and then you just need 1 or 2 rounds to go in your favor, and all of a sudden, you find yourself on the winning side of this match. It's the same similar attack. It's very direct. They want to take top floor, they want to clear the vertical, attack the bomb site. Remember, it's a master bedroom, bathroom bomb site like before. And Beastcoast are using the same approach as last time, but with the echo, with that information, with a bulletproof camera. No Tashanka, no smoke, so very little bomb site deny. I'm not entirely sure what Beastcoast wants to do this round, but Drip, he shows us the cards, and it's Bolo once again, who unfortunately finds that vertical C4 at his feet.
The same C4 in almost the same spot as before. Oh, Beastcoast reading TSM like a book. Bolo 0-6 in the first half. You got to feel for somebody like that. Chala narrowly dances with death there and misses out on an opportunity to be taken down. Slash punish from above. Chala has a bit of a grudge match with these Beastcoast players who are so eager to take his life. That's Achieved to take some damage now. Slowly the HPs of TSM being whittled away. 2 minutes have flown by in this round. And now it's Sweater and Chala to battle to the death. Sweater getting away. Remember, the last time they took this bomb site, TSM had full control. Beastcoast had to try to retake. It was not successful. This was the only site that TSM has won on so far. Beastcoast have made some small changes, and they don't want a situation where they forfeit control of the bomb site as well. That's a nice kill from Merc on the Surf. Chala down for the count. It puts us into a 3v3 with Sweater on very limited HP. But look at these angles. Anthony's got one through the floor. Drip takes out Merc. Chala's been picked back up, but he's still very, very weak. Diffuser going down. Geo to cover with the F2 in hand. He could very easily pick up a double here. Geo, you could very easily pick up a double, but he goes 0 for 2. Achieve taken out, and Geo fails on the plant. Drip a triple kill, and Sweater finishes it off. Good Lord, Beastcoast. They just have everything going for them right now. Drip seems excited in the first half. 5-1 for the team in teal.
The entire strat from Beastcoast there was a vertical approach. They had yokais in this ceiling that spotted out both of those C4s that were tossed out. One killed Bolo, one almost injured Chala, and that's pretty much all Beastcoast had in their pocket to work with, and then they had to retake the bomb site once again, but this time they did so successfully. Bolo doesn't get his first kill, TSM doesn't get their second round, we're side swapping 1 and 5, which is unfortunately very difficult. Sure, you might say 1 round is not a huge deal, being 1 and 5 or 2 and 4, same. But the thing is, if you mess up now once as TSM, or if Beastcoast they manage to clutch a single round, we're talking match point and no more regulation on the menu. You have to go OT if you're TSM. You gotta go so many rounds back to back. And we had that community vote. You see it on screen. Who will not win today? Team So Mid or Least Coast?
Let me see. Give me the numbers. Yeah, you think that TSM's not going to win. So far, so good. Beast Coast are 2 rounds away from putting an exclamation point on this matchup. And oh my, how the mighty have fallen. With a loss here, TSM are effectively eliminated from making it to Charlotte, which means no trip to North Carolina for this team. If you recall, when they had just become TSM back at the Raleigh Major, same state, they tussled against which team was it again in the quarterfinals?
I think it was G2 So Good Esports.
And which team prevailed in that matchup, Nick?
G2 So Good Esports.
There you go. So for TSM, there were some magic in North Carolina. This time around, no magic to be had again because TSM's major shot is effectively over if they do not prevail on Beast Coast. Again, this outside run from Beast Coast, very possible. We'll set the stage for you. A victory here means that their next matchup is against Mirage. Mirage not looking like the most formidable team, though there were some surprises in their matchup earlier against Astralis. If that is a win for Beast Coast, that means that their major chances hinge on 2 things. Number 1, other teams who are currently in the major run losing at the right times, and Beast Coast's fateful 9th Playday is against Astralis, who at that point might have already clinched a major spot. And if that's the case, that could be an easy win for Beast Coast, and Mirage and Astralis won't be able to stop them. Anyway, round number 7, and it's not a C4 this time, but the first pick goes to Beast Coast, as that's a nicely tossed nade. Sweater picks up 2 kills. TSM folding like cheap paper cranes right now. TSM about to get bulldozed as Drip is getting the diffuser down. They've been completely boxed into the bomb site. A 3rd kill from Sweater as he commands control of the hallway, and the diffuser gets planted as well with still a 1.5 to go in the round. Drip is taken out by Bolo. Sweater has an ace potential with 2 more kills, but Anthony says, no, I'm going to take one of them. It leaves Bolo in a 1v4 who picks up 2 kills, but are these impactless? 3 more to be found. Diffuser almost at the halfway point. He's at the top of these main stairs. He's got a line of sight to the window inside of Karaoke. He doesn't know if somebody's inside a T, but he's going to go in anyway. Fearless right now. He's shown flashes of brilliance before, but it has not been his game this time around, and it won't be this round either. Slash, the most tenured player on Beast Coast, propels the team to match point.
And there it is. That's the match point we spoke about. 1 mistake or 1 round from Beast Coast, and then TSM have everything working against them. And had you shown me this game, before the season started, but flip the names around, I would have been like, wow, TSM, they're pretty good at Skyscraper. But the issue is, the names have not been flipped. This is, in fact, a Beast Coast that is looking oh so good at Skyscraper.
Exactly. Go back to the week that the Beast Coast roster was announced.
Yeah.
We are hot off of the heels of TSM plowing through SI, demolishing Empire, and winning the World Championship. And you say, okay, Beast Coast and TSM are going to play each other. It's going to be 6-1 in round number 7. At the end of round number 7, who is it? You're going to say, every person who follows this pro scene is going to say, yeah, it's TSM.
Yeah, obviously.
And you'd be wrong.
Yeah, and you'd be wrong.
But this is what we've seen so far this season. I think Attacker Repick and the shake-up to the meta, introducing 3 new maps, quote-unquote new, because Theme Park is obviously not new. Border and Skyscraper are also not new, but they've been reworked.
To some teams, they're new.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But to suggest that, things are the same after Attacker Repick is instituted, Thorn is opened up as an operator. We've still seen some tinkering with secondary gadgets. Heroic the former Kavana roster.
Yep.
First team to qualify for Charlotte. That's a bit of a surprise in EU. You've got W7M,
Big
who are
surprise.
absolutely slaughtering Brazil right now, who came out of nowhere for most people. You've got some of the old favorites performing so poorly. There's been a massive shakeup to this meta, and it has made the state of pro play very unpredictable, but also very exciting, unless you're a TSM fan, in which case you are not having any fun whatsoever in this 6-1 lopsided beating that Beastcoast is giving to them.
I do want to say, in favor of TSM, the curse of winning invitationals or making it far into a tournament is you get less time off afterwards, right? Imagine you're TSM, the organized players. You win invitationals, you go home, content shoots, videos, you talk about the game, you review your footage. You don't get a ton of time to prepare for attacker repick, the new map pool, and every other team in the world, especially North American teams, they want to beat TSM more than any other team in the world right now because they're the best. If you beat TSM, you get some credit.
Absolutely. I know that we're in North America, so somebody like Tom Brady, who just retired and then unretired, he's played something like, what was it? It was like 3 extra seasons of American football because of how deep the Patriots and then the Buccaneers have made runs in the postseason. There's a first pick by Slash, again, Beastcoast. Finding the scoreboard first, TSM have failed miserably to keep up with this Beastcoast roster in terms of opening picks. Bolo being hunted down now. There's a nade that sails on by. He's got Merc side by side. Adrenal Surge goes out from Beastcoast, gives everybody a bit of HP except for Slash, who's still a little bit below 100. It's a nice first pick for Beastcoast with just about half of the round left.
The great thing with TSM is that the drones are no, but it's pending on site. Where's the cover?
Again, Beastcoast are in. There's still over a minute to go. Sweater gets taken down by Merc, but the numbers not favoring them now. TSM hitting their strides, hitting their marks. Bolo picks up a kill a second for Merc. Diffuser down, 35 seconds left, and Anthony and Surf are the 2 players to clutch out. The last standing member of this squad is Anthony from before. Surf, though, extra promising, and now he's going to need to clutch out, but he gets toyed on Repel as Geo and Merc find the final 2 kills. TSM, a brilliant retake. It was a nice entry from Beastcoast to fly under the radar of TSM, but TSM had the retake covered, and they get the round.
Great read from Beastcoast. The one thing they didn't have was information or drones. Right before that plant went down, we saw Bolo upstairs inside of the tea room. And in that moment, Beastcoast only had 1 single drone left alive in the round. They went for the bomb site, they started planting, they got the diffuser down. The issue for Beastcoast is the post plant. The positions that they can be to cover the diffuser once it's successfully planted weren't great. The window repel where Ayana was, you cannot see the diffuser itself. Last player was alone inside the building, couldn't find anything either on that kitchen window, but had to jump in the building. So the downside of planting there is unfortunately because you didn't have map control, you didn't have vertical control, you couldn't cover it. Now we're seeing TSM continuing this trend of the tertiary bomb sites having a preference because they went karaoke, into kitchen, into master bedroom, which is a very different approach than any other team who's played Skyscraper so far. And it's early days, but so far it's working. Maybe having an approach that kind of throws Beastcoast off their game might be the way to a couple of rounds. Then you start building momentum. Players are starting to find kills. Bolo 3 and 7 now, finding some stuff going for himself. And then, just then maybe, you can take it all the way to OT if you're TSM, and then we start from scratch again with 3 rounds in overtime.
That was also the very first barbecue defense that we saw, Nick.
It was?
The very first kitchen barbecue. So now they'll go down to what you referred to as the tertiary bomb site before, which is that bedroom, bathroom bomb site on the first floor. Arguably got the most changes of all of the bomb sites during Skyscraper's rework, completely changing the function and feel, extending the wall inside a bathroom, changing the way the closet worked, changing the way that the front lobby works, the main set of stairs leading up to office, lobby stairs as they're called. A lot of changes here, and it'll be good to see how the pros play it out over the course of this stage and next.
Geo had an impact in his pocket there. I am curious if he could have thrown that out through those Maverick holes and denied those Selma charges from exploding, but maybe Geo has a different plan with that single impact. Could be used in the roam, vertical play, a retake, etc. So many options on Skyscraper, all these soft walls and soft floor destruction, just like we see the grenades and the C4s being used. relentlessly every single round from Beastcoast, usually finding value, but that one Gemma right there on the single roll upstairs has not been destroyed.
Ooh, Anthony getting tagged and hurt by, I would assume, Geo. Now it's Merc to fall to Surf. Beastcoast again get that opening pick. It prompts Bolo off of the hold that he had upstairs. Down he goes, a second kill from Surf. Obviously not liking that his round was cut short watching the diffuser previously. It puts Beastcoast in a very powerful 3v5 that becomes a 2v5. Surf is just killing every damn person, and now Anthony does it too. A flawless end to this match as it's over in the blink of an eye. Beastcoast crushes the defending world champions 7-2.
Yep, that's a Beastcoast victory right there if I've ever seen one, and TSM, they keep trying to go to new maps, and I will respect them for it. Long term, this might pay off, but right now, it is not time for TSM to shine. We're seeing new teams, new players that we would have never expected at this level of play stomping the current world champions.
Yeah, stomping is absolutely correct, and with that loss, that seals the deal in regards to TSM's run to the major. It is effectively over. There are only 6 points remaining for TSM, and Dark Zero sits in 4th at 12 points. So TSM will not make it to Charlotte, but there's still an outside chance that this Beastcoast roster does. They've shown signs of improvement.
Oh, Sweater and Bolo there. Just, you know, they're all pals.
Former teammates on that old, what was it, Honor Among Thieves roster. And they've been around the block, Hat, way back in the day. And honestly, you have to give credit to every single player on Beastcoast, but the two that I want to give my tip of the hat to.
Okay.
Anthony for persevering. That whole Beastcoast roster was victim of a fire sale. The only player that they thought worth keeping was Anthony. And so far, he has been a pillar of this team. But it was the man on screen right there. Somebody who saw an exit from pro play and seemed to be done with competitive Rainbow Six. Slash comes back on. He's shown great flexibility, good leadership, and he is helping lead this team forward. And with it, they pick up yet another victory, their 4th of the season. That'll do it for our second match here on our 7th Playday. We'll go to a quick break, and then we'll come back with the analysts to talk about what exactly happened.
Welcome back to Rainbow Six NAL Doa. Jesse Jacob here with you at the desk. And over in Las Vegas, we have none other than Slash from Team Beastcoast just taking out TSM. Slash, can you hear me over there?
Yep.
All right, great. So here you go. You've taken down TSM fairly easily. Has the shock kind of worn off? Was there still a point in the map where it's like you're kind of expecting TSM to just become that SI team and it's just not happening? Like, what's it's like? It's got to be a little bit surreal to play against the SI champs, but have it kind of go like this.
Yeah. For us, like, we never really like stopped thinking like they could come back at any time. We were like up 6-1, and we're like, it's still not over. They're still the world champs. They could come back whenever. Maybe because of the season they had, it was a little less than like it would have been if they were having a good season. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, we just never underestimate them.
Something you got to keep in mind for sure.
Yeah.
Slash, I want to talk to you a little bit about the future of Beastcoast, because you guys going forward have a very good shot at this point of making it to the major. Still games to play, of course, but you're on kind of a young team. You got a lot of fresh players. You've been in this game forever. I believe your last international event was OGA Pit way back in the day. So is there anything you're trying to bring to this squad if you guys make it to the Charlotte Major that you think might be able to help with these guys? Do you play a big role in that kind of getting them ready for that big international event, or is that still something you're not thinking about?
I mean, I've been thinking about it since we, probably after the SSG game is when I really thought like, we could make the major. Honestly, our goal was top 5, whether we make the major or like in that 5th spot. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be an experience when they finally go. I don't think some of them have never even traveled out of their state before they came here. So I think like maybe less like in-game stuff on land, but more of like, this is how you travel. This is what you need. Because, I did that on LG before, and, we had people losing passports who had never traveled before. It was a mess. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah, don't do this here because you're actually like playing it on home soil, so if that happens, that would stink. But talk to me about the ban philosophy as well. You're heading to Theme Park against the TSM squad that obviously they've not played it before, but you had already shown a willingness to try new maps out. You won Border at the very beginning of the stage. What's it like for you to incorporate new maps into the pool where they haven't been played before? Do you like the possibility? Is it something that you want to keep trying out, or is it just kind of how the coin fell in this case?
So when we heard about the new maps being released, those were something all of us instantly said, like, we want to be like some of the best teams on this map. Like, we want to be the best on this map, because as a team with no experience, with people who had never played with each other before, it's going to be hard to go to those older maps, which teams like SSG, DZ, TSM have years of experience playing together on, have won at international events. But on these new maps, it's sort of like starting fresh for everyone, and so that's where we can really like take advantage of the map pool as opposed to like trying to play SSG on club or something like that.
Let me ask you real quick, do you think it was a mistake for TSM to bring you to Skyscraper today?
I mean, I think it was a gamble for them. Their season's not, going perfect. It sucks for them. And maybe just try try a new map out, see how they do on it. Maybe they had some good results in practice. I can't really blame them for thinking like we might be bad at it. We've never played it. So it's kind of like, it's just a toss up at that point, and it just didn't work out for them today.
Fair enough.
All right, well, exciting match. Always fun to watch Beastcoast regardless. Congrats on your win again today. Good luck tomorrow, and good luck on your road to the international event.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it. Slash from Beastcoast. Definitely one of the most entertaining teams in the league, I think, right now to watch. Getting the win over TSM. I feel like we've had 2 pretty expected results today, haven't we, so far?
Reluctantly. You don't want to say that about the current world champions.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
We know the system that they're in. We know the hole that they've dug themselves now.
Right.
And it is 100% confirmed TSM cannot qualify for the Charlotte Major right after winning SI. They are done. And it certainly didn't help that Bolo in this match, I think, when they were on attack, was the opening kill 4 straight times. He could never get going today. Yeah.
He was 0-6, for the first half. So we didn't have a single kill whilst they were playing on attack. And something that Intero brought up on the cast was like, usually we think of Bolo as a player this season that has been struggling on defense. This was a really poor performance on attack. And we saw that last week as well, actually, when they played Theme Park. So struggles for sure in the classic spots for TSM. On Beastcoast, though, it is kind of the usual suspects. Sweater getting up there. Nice to see Surf bouncing back with a high kill game. The last time that we saw Beastcoast play, they were Surf was a little bit down on the kill feed. I still thought that he had a big impact though. Nice to see Drip as well, 9 and 4. You don't really see that from him too often. Had a big 4K back in round number 4 that had a big plus on that. But all in all, very strong game from Beastcoast, and I don't think anybody on that team played poorly. Look at that, 1 opening kill going the way of TSM.
You know, it's interesting, too, looking ahead for Beastcoast as well. I believe they play Mirage next, but then after that, and forgive me if I'm misremembering this, I believe their final matchup is against Astralis. So it seems like they've got another one that they should win, and then it all comes down to potentially one of the most difficult teams to play against in the league that might determine their spot to be able to go to the international event. So it's going to really come down to the wire for Beastcoast. I feel like tomorrow is kind of a must-win for them, even though it's against a team that a lot of people would kind of look at as a gimme right now.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at their standings at the moment, I believe they jump up to 3rd place in the standings.
Currently, after just 2 games, right.
Yeah. Of course, we've got the whole
We got some more to
play.
go today, yeah.
Right.
Very much. But, like, even if they, like, struggle against Astralis, maybe if they go to overtime, win or lose, pick up a couple of points at the very least, they still could lock in that top 4 spots. So even that game's not do or die for them.
Yeah, and it was like, hey, there's SSG in the mix, there's Dark Zero, there's XSET.
Yeah.
We kind of just like had Beast Coast down there in like the 6th spot and didn't really give them the consideration. But now after this win, they're definitely still in the midst.
For sure.
Yep, that's right. Let's take a look at one of the replays from our map we just saw. This one, I believe, is going to be round number 2. And this is TSM setting up a fairly good execute, but then things just kind of fall apart. And this seemed to be kind of indicative as we watched it of what's going on with the org right now.
So I want to showcase you guys where kind of TSM are going through. This is a default take. They open up. You can see the window on the right-hand side of your screen to jump in. They're also going to use nades to get rid of the mute jammer and eventually use some hard breach on the north wall that you're seeing up as well. The 3rd and final wall that they want to deal with, that they've already got open with the Maverick, is the south wall that's going to go right on into the bomb site there. And this south wall is something I really want to highlight because it's a really important wall for this take. It's great for angles. But once you start trying to walk through it, it's very difficult. Look how many players can get across on that wall. If we go back to the top floor, you'll see how everybody is able to kind of have an angle there. Obviously the one player in sight, but even the player closest to our bottom left is able to go for a swing on it. And those top left players as well over by Dragon can get angles on that wall for the entry as well. So a big mistake TSM make here. They get everything open. They do fantastic. Then they feed a couple too many players to that wall. Slash obviously standing up, getting a lot of those impacts. So I wanted to highlight that round because it's a really good example of starting the push. They got everything open that they needed to. They were all in the right positions, but then fumbling on where they're actually trying to get into the bomb site from, and unfortunately just not having those nades to get those opening engagements or the follow-ups for the trades.
It's also a drone problem overall for TSM. You'd think you're going into a new map. If you don't have it perfectly scouted, you don't know every angle that needs to be watched, you have to drone in 2 different ways. The flanks and then covering for your entries. In neither case was it applicable, not only because Bolo was dying either in the first engagement, whether it was to a nitro cell or not, it felt like there wasn't enough for them to clear and actually obtain map control fast, like right away. Sometimes they did. There were a couple rounds where it felt like it was a little bit better, but it's still like the intel game from TSM was abysmal overall because of how much ground Beast Coast were not giving up to them. They were saying, we'll get an opening kill, maybe we can fall back a bit, but then we'll still try to retain control, and TSM weren't doing enough to contest that.
Fair enough. Well, individual problems, team coordination problems abound for the world champs, unfortunately. But for Beastcoast, another important win on their road to get into the major. We'll have to check back in tomorrow to see how they do against Mirage. But that's going to do it for that match. Next one coming up soon, though, it's going to be Dark Zero versus XSET. This is really a battle. Again, if you want to see teams fighting for one of those spots at the major, do not miss this next one. Should be awesome. Should be much closer, I think, than anything we've seen here today. It'll be great. Don't miss it. We'll be back in just a few.